Assalamu alaikum, grade 2, and a very good morning to all of you. How are you all doing? Great. That's very good. Yes, I'm also good. Alhamdulillah. Thank you. And this is your numeracy class. In today's class, we will be starting with the new topic that is fractions. And in that, we will discuss how we can divide anything into two equal parts. Okay. Let's say this is a marker, how we can divide this into two equal parts. Let's say this is a duster, how we can divide it into two equal parts. But before starting with that, let's quickly revise what we did in yesterday's class. So I'm going to write two numbers in front of you. Tell me if I ask you to tell me which is the largest number, how would you use the sign? Is this the correct manner? Is this true or false? Just raise your hands. Yes, Elise, is this true or false? This is false. Why? Because the open part of mouth of crocodile is toward the largest number. So the sign should be in this way. Now, excellent. Let's say we have two numbers which are 9 and 9, and I ask you to tell whether these numbers are greater than, smaller than, or equal to each other. So what will you do? They are equal to each other. Excellent. Now similarly, we have two numbers like 13 and 15, and I ask you to identify which number is smallest. So how will you draw the sign? Is this the correct manner? No, this is false. Why? Because what we do that we write a little inverted L in front of the number which is less than the other one, right? And the open part of, or in other way, the open part of this crocodile mouth should be toward the highest number. Okay, very well done. All of you have revised the topic. Now in today's class we will be starting with the new topic, that is fractions, or let's say how we can divide something into different parts. So tell me, do you know what does fraction means? Does anybody have any idea? No. Okay, fine. Tell me, have you ever seen numbers written like this? Have you ever seen numbers written like this? What does this means? 9, 9 by 10, 1 by 2. Have you written numbers written like this? These are called as fractions. And what are fractions? Fractions are basically the part of a whole, right? Okay, I'm going to explain this to you with a very interesting example. I'm going to share the screen with you. Show me a thumbs up if it is visible to you or not, okay? Okay, just wait for a moment. Let's say you are in restaurant and you ordered pizza or burger. Let's say you ordered burger for yourself, right? And you and your sibling, you are with one of your sibling, and you have ordered one burger. So have you seen that they cut the burger for you in two halves, right? So do they cut it in this way? No, in this way, the one person will get only bun and the other will get the all of the kebab and salad thing, right? So how do they cut it? They cut it in this way. Why? Because they wanted to cut it in equal parts, right? They cut it in this way so that everybody or every person get an equal part of that. Similarly, when you ordered pizza from somewhere, the pizza is cut into different parts, and these parts are basically the fractions of this whole pizza, right? When you take out one slice of that, this is a one fraction, and when all of these fractions are combined together, when all of those slices are combined together, it together makes up a pizza for you, right? Let me share the screen. Okay, can you see that in this is a pizza which is divided into different fractions. Our main focus would be today on how we can divide it into equal parts. So can you see this one? That the pizza is divided into two equal parts on one side, and on other side there is no difference between that, right? Similarly, there are other fractions as well. We can make 7 pieces out of that, 8 pieces out of that, 9 pieces out of that. It depends only on its size, right? So according to the size, we can divide that into different parts, and then we can eat it. And what are those parts called as? Those parts are known as the fractions of whole. Similarly, have you ever observed the footballs? The footballs are basically made from small patches. They are very small patches, small cloth pieces which are woven together, and then they together make up a football, right? So all of those patches are basically fractions of that whole football. In order to reinforce this concept, I'm going to show you a small video as well, that will help you understand this concept in a better way. Show me a thumbs up if it is visible to you or not. Okay, so let's quickly watch a video. Is this visible? Okay, excellent.
So, I had 4 balls to give it away, but I had 2 kids to share it with. So, what did I do? I gave 2 balls to one kid and 2 balls to the other kid. This is how I divided those 4 balls. 2 for you and 2 for you. So you have equal balls, sharing equally. This is how you equally divide. 2, 2.
Okay, so you have must have get an idea by watching the video as well. Similarly, let's say if you have 6 chocolates and 8 candies, and your mother asks you to divide them equally among your with your sibling, right? With your sister, right? So what you would do, out of six, first you will divide the six into equal parts. So six, write them as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now you will divide them into equal parts. 3 plus 3. So you will give 3 chocolates to your sister and you will keep 3 with yourself. So now what you have done, basically you have divided the chocolates into 2 equal parts, into 2 equal halves, so that they can be shared. Okay. Now open your book. This is your book page number 28, and then the topic is fractions. And what we are discussing how to divide equally, right? So it says that fractions are basically part of a whole. Whatever the thing you have, whatever the thing is in front of you as a whole, it has some patches, it has some parts, and those parts are known as fractions of that, right? And the example is that, let's say she has a burger and she want to cut it because she want to share it with her sister. So what she do, she cannot cut it in this form. Why? Because in this way it should not be cut in two halves. So she has cut it in this way, in the vertical way, and now the burger is divided into two equal halves, right? Now there is this small exercise for you. Divide the following into two halves. You are supposed to divide these pictures which are in front of you into two equal parts. Now it depends. First, let's look at the first thing. It's a square with three, like this. Now let's say if I divide this in this way, it's a rectangle, by the way. If I divide it in this way, would it be fine? Yes or no? Okay, and what if I divide it in this way? Would it be more better? It can be divided in both forms. Okay, now look at the next one. The next one is like this. Okay, so can I cut it in this form? No. Why? Because this part have more area. See, this is more and this is small. So the perfect way to cut it in two halves is this way. Now on both sides there are equal parts available, right? Now look at the third one. So it depends, whatever the thing is in front of you, or whatever the thing you are cutting in two halves, it depends on its shape, that how, whether you can cut it in this form or in this form. And we discussed it when we were discussing the number line, use of number line. I told you that this is known as horizontal way and this is known as vertical way. So when you are supposed to cut something in two halves, it depends that whether it can be cut in horizontal way or in vertical way, right? It depends on the shape of it. Now let's say this is a circle, whether you cut it in this form or in this form, In both ways it will be cut into two equal parts, right? But the picture that we did before this was not horizontal manner was not appropriate for that, right? Now let's look at the last one. It's a water bottle. Now look at this. If I cut a bottle in this way, would it be equally, would it be into equal parts? No. Why? Because this side have more area and this have low area. So the correct manner to cut it into halves is in this way. Now on both sides you can see that on both sides there is equal part or equal area, right? So whenever we are dividing anything into two equal parts, it depends on its shape, it depends on its size, that whether we can cut it in horizontal way or whether we can cut it in vertical way. Got it? Okay. So what is your home assignment? That you would search for the different shapes in mathematics. Okay, let's say star, circle, square, rectangle. You must be familiar with these names. You will search for them in Google and then you will draw them on your notebook and then cut them into two equal parts. Okay, and in tomorrow's class, inshallah, I'll ask you that what whether it was possible for this picture to cut it in horizontal way or vertical way. You should know this, right? Okay, see you in the next class. Take care. Allah Hafiz.